Your hat and boots, Watson, quick. Not a moment to lose.
We were following them. Shall I run on and stop them?
Not for the world, my dear Watson. I am perfectly satisfied with your company if you will tolerate mine. Our friends are wise, for it is certainly a very fine morning for a walk. That's our man, Watson, which is in the cab. We'll have a good look at him, if we can do no more.
Run the car like wind.
There now. Was ever such bad luck and such bad management, too? Watson, if you are an honest man you will record this also and set it against my successes.
But who was the man?
I not have an idea.
A spy.
Well, it was evident from what we have heard that Baskerville has been very closely shadowed by someone since he has been in town. How else could it be known so quickly that it was the Northumberland Hotel which he had chosen? If they had followed him the first day I argued that they would follow him also the second. You may have observed that I twice strolled over to the window while Dr. Mortimer was reading his legend.
Yes, I remember.
I was looking out for loiterers in the street, but I saw none. We are dealing with a clever man, Watson. This matter cuts very deep, and though I have not finally made up my mind whether it is a benevolent or a malevolent agency which is in touch with us, I am conscious always of power and design. When our friends left I at once followed them in the hopes of marking down their invisible attendant. So wily was he that he had not trusted himself upon foot, but he had availed himself of a cab so that he could loiter behind or dash past them and so escape their notice. His method had the additional advantage that if they were to take a cab he was all ready to follow them. It has, however, one obvious disadvantage.
It puts him in the power of the cabman.
Exactly.
What a pity we did not get the number.
My dear Watson, clumsy as I have been, you surely do not seriously imagine that I neglected to get the number. No 2704 is our man. But that is no use to us for the moment. Can you give me that man's full description, Watson?
He had a beard, which may be false one. Then he had a great black upside-down moustache over his lips.
Well, that mustache can also be the part of his makeup. But come on Watson, we are going to the district messenger office. Ah, Wilson, I see you have not forgotten the little case in which I had the good fortune to help you.
No, sir, indeed I have not. You saved my good name, and perhaps my life.
My dear fellow, you exaggerate. Wilson, that you had among your boys a lad named Cartwright, who showed some ability during the investigation.
Yes, sir, he is still here with us.
Could you ring him up? Thank you. And I should be glad to have change of this £5 note.
Soon Cartwright was in front of Sherlock Holmes.
Let me have the hotel directory. Thank you. Now, Cartwright, there are the names of 23 hotels here, all in the immediate neighborhood of Charing Cross. Do you see?
Yes, sir.
You will visit each of these in turn.
Yes, sir.
You will begin in each case by giving the outside porter 1 shilling. Here are 23 shillings.
Very well, sir.
You will tell him that you want to see the waste paper of yesterday. You will say that an important telegram has miscarried and that you are looking for it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
But what you are really looking for is the center page of the Times with some holes cut in it with scissors. Here is a copy of the Times. It is this page. You could easily recognize it, could you not?
Yes, sir.
In each case the outside porter will send for the hall porter, to whom also you will give a shilling. Here are 3 shillings. You will then learn in possibly 20 cases out of the 23 that the waste of the day before has been burned or removed. In the 3 other cases you will be shown a heap of paper and you will look for this page of the Times among it. The odds are enormously against your finding it. There are 10 shillings over in case of emergencies. Let me have a report by wire at Baker Street before evening.
Done, sir.
And now, Watson, it only remains for us to find out by wire the identity of the cabman, no 2704, and then we will drop into one of the Bond Street picture gallerias and fill in the time until we are due at the hotel.
We were at Sir Henry's Northumberland Hotel that afternoon.
Sir Henry Baskerville is upstairs expecting you. He asked me to show you up at once when you came.
Have you any objection to my looking at your register?
Not in the least.
The book showed that 2 names had been added after that of Baskerville. One was Theophilus Johnson and family, of Newcastle, the other, Mrs. Oldmore, and maid, of High Lodge, Alton.
Surely that must be the same Johnson whom I used to know. A lawyer, is he not, gray-headed, and walks with a limp?
No, sir. This is Mr. Johnson, the coal owner, a very active gentleman, not older than yourself.
Surely you are mistaken about his trade.
No, sir. He has used this hotel for many years, and he is very well known to us.
Ah, that settles it. Mrs. Oldmore, too, I seem to remember the name. Excuse my curiosity, but often in calling upon one friend one finds another.
She is an invalid lady, sir. Her husband was once mayor of Gloucester. She always comes to us when she is in town.
Thanks, Watson. Now we will go to meet Sir Henry Baskerville.
As we came round the top of the stairs we had run up against Sir Henry Baskerville himself. His face was flushed with anger, and he held an old and dusty boot in one of his hands. So furious was he that he was hardly articulate, and when he did speak it was in a much broader and more western dialect than any which we had heard from him in the morning.
Halloa, my dear fellow, what on earth is the matter?
Seems to me they are playing me for a sucker in this hotel. They'll find they've started into monkey with the wrong man unless they are careful. By thunder, if that chap can't find my missing boot there will be trouble. I can take a joke with the best, Mr. Holmes, but they've got a bit over the mark this time.
Still looking for your boot?
Yes, sir, and mean to find it.
But, surely, you said that it was a new brown boot.
So it was, sir. And now it's an old black one.
What, you don't mean to say?
That's just what I do mean to say. I only had 3 pairs in the world, the new brown, the old black, and the patent leathers, which I am wearing. Last night they took one of my brown ones, and today they have sneaked one of the black. Well, have you got it? Speak out, man, and don't stand staring. What do you make of it yourself?
Well, I don't profess to understand it yet. This case of yours is very complex, Sir Henry. When taken in conjunction with your uncle's death I am not sure that of all the 500 cases of capital importance which I have handled there is one which cuts so deep. But we hold several threads in our hands, and the odds are that one or other of them guides us to the truth. We may waste time in following the wrong one, but sooner or later we must come upon the right.
We went in Sir Henry Baskerville's room.
Well, Sir Henry, what is your plan for now?
Going to the Baskerville Hall.
And when?
At the end of this week.
I think that your decision is a wise one. I have ample evidence that you are being dogged in London, and amid the millions of this great city it is difficult to discover who these people are or what their object can be. If their intentions are evil they might do you a mischief, and we should be powerless to prevent it. You did not know, Dr. Mortimer, that you were followed this morning from my house.
Followed. By whom?
That, unfortunately, is what I cannot tell you. Have you among your neighbors or acquaintances on Dartmoor any man with a black, upside-down mustache?
No. Or, let me see. Why, yes. Barrymore, Sir Charles's butler, is a man with a full, black mustache.
Ha, where is Barrymore?
He is in charge of the hall.
We had best ascertain if he is really there, or if by any possibility he might be in London.
How can you do that?
Give me a telegraph form. Is all ready for Sir Henry? That will do. Address to Mr. Barrymore, Baskerville Hall. What is the nearest telegraph office? Grimpen. Very good. We will send a second wire to the postmaster, Grimpen, telegram to Mr. Barrymore to be delivered into his own hand. If absent, please return wire to Sir Henry Baskerville, Northumberland Hotel. That should let us know before evening whether Barrymore is at his post in Devonshire or not.
By the way, Dr. Mortimer, who is this Barrymore, anyhow?
He is the son of the old caretaker, who is dead. They have looked after the hall for 4 generations now. So far as I know, he and his wife are as respectable a couple as any in the county.
'Tis clear enough that, so long as there are none of the family at the hall these people have a mighty fine home, and nothing to do.
Quite so. Well, Sir Henry, I am of one mind with you as to the advisability of your going down to Devonshire without delay. There is only one provision, which I must make. That is, you certainly must not go alone.
But Dr. Mortimer is coming with me.
But Dr. Mortimer has his practice to attend to, and his house is miles away from yours. With all the goodwill in the world he may be unable to help you. No, Sir Henry, you must take with you someone, a trusty man, who will be always by your side.
Is it possible that you could come yourself, Mr. Holmes?
I will come sooner or later, but I can't come now.
Then who will you recommend?
If my friend would undertake it, there is no man who is better worth having at your side when you are in a tight place. No one can say so more confidently than I.
Well, now, that is real kind of you. Dr. Watson, you see how it is with me, and you know just as much about the matter as I do. If you will come down to Baskerville Hall and see me through, I'll never forget it.
I will come, with pleasure. I do not know how I could employ my time better. Then on Saturday, unless you hear to the contrary, we shall meet at the 10:30 train from Paddington. We had risen to depart when Baskerville gave a cry of triumph, and diving into one of the corners of the room he drew a brown boot from under a cabinet. He had found his new boot after all. Holmes and I were returning in a cab. Poseless series of small mysteries which had succeeded each other so rapidly. Setting aside the whole grim story of Sir Charles's death, we had a line of inexplicable incidents all within the limits of 2 days, which included the receipt of the printed letter, the black-bearded spy in the hansom, the loss of the new brown boot, the loss of the old black boot, and now the return of the new brown boot. Holmes sat in silence in the cab as we drove back to Baker Street, and I knew from his drawn brows and keen face that his mind, like my own, was busy in endeavoring to frame some scheme into which all these strange and apparently disconnected episodes could be fitted. All afternoon and late into the evening he sat lost in tobacco and thought.